In this tutorial, we're going to be discussing the new edit functionality on Softr. You can now enable editing on any list details, or table block so that users can edit the data that appears in the block and therefore updating it in your Airtable base. So let's run through two examples of how this can work. Let's start with allowing all logged in users to edit a list details page, like the one we have in front of us. As an example, I'm going to be using our CoLive template, an Airtable-like platform for hosts and guests. So step one, let's navigate to the user groups and permissions, which is in the settings panel on the left. As you can see, we have the new user groups and permissions option, and we have two options here. We have the ability to define user groups and then to edit the permissions of those particular user groups. So in the user groups itself, which comes with the CoLive template, is two user groups that have been newly created, which are called hosts and guests. As default, we have logged in users. In the edit permissions, what we want to do is add our very first edit permission. So we want to select add edit permission from the very bottom. And then from here, we want to create a name for this particular permission. So we're going to call this one edit apartment. The next option is to then select the user group that we want to apply this to. So from here, we're going to select logged in users for the time being. And now we need to select the actual base. Again, click the button, scroll down to the base, CoLive template, and then we want to add the table. So in this case, we're going to be doing apartments. So select apartments. Now, as you notice, we have the granularity to be able to define the different permissions for the fields and for the record. As default, all fields have been selected, but we can toggle this on and off and be a little bit more granular if we want. To do that, all we need to do is click on the actual toggle itself, and then you'll notice you've got a list of all the different field types that have been pulled in from your Airtable base. From here, we can select on and off the ones that we want to be able to apply this particular permission to, or instead we can apply them to them all. The same goes for the record level permissions. We can then select the toggle on, and then from there we've got a list of additional, more granular options. So again, what we can do here, for example, is choose to only allow certain records of the list, for example, only tasks that have been assigned to me, to be more editable for the selected user group. So from here, I can then just click apply that condition into the condition details and then apply that. For this example though, we're going to be doing it to all records. So now that is all set up, all we need to do is then click the create permission button. And we've got our first permission created here. The next thing we want to do is then define the actual list details block that we want to apply this to. So we've got it right in front of us here. I want to select that list details block. And then you'll notice up the top right now, we have got the new edit icon. All we need to do is select that. And we've got the edit settings here. As default, this allows all users that are logged in with the ability to edit. If we wanted to add a particular user group to be able to edit this particular list details block, we can do by clicking here. We'll come back to that shortly, but for the time being, we're going to allow all users that are logged in with the ability to edit. Once we're ready, all we need to do is click publish and then visit the application. Now we've navigated to the list details block. As you'll notice, a new icon appears in the top right for users. All I need to do is select that, and then you can see all the records and have the ability to edit these records. So let's give it a shot. So let's change the continent that's potentially make it a little bit larger with 5 rooms. And we can change the location. And click save. And as you'll notice, the changes have now been updated in live time. So it's as simple as that. Now, if we want to go back and apply the ability to edit the list details to a particular user group, we can do so again just by going back to the list details settings and clicking the edit icon. So it would make logical sense to only allow the hosts the ability to edit their list details. Therefore, we just add user group, we select just hosts, and then all we need to do is then click publish for these changes to come into effect. So the account I've created here is not a host, and it's just a general guest. So when I click refresh, the edit icon will disappear now, and I won't have the ability to edit anymore. Again, we can go back to the studio, and if we wanted to remove the hosts and instead allow the guest to edit the records, we can apply that, click publish, and the changes should come into effect after clicking refresh. And again, now I've got the ability to edit records. So that's the new edit functionality on Softr.